Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Teen Tuesday. Today we have DIY air dry clay animal magnets. This is a part of our 2021 Tales and Tales summer reading program, and this program is presented by Charlotte County Libraries and History. In the kit you picked up from your local library branch, you should find an assorted array of air dry clay. If the clay is dried out, don't fret, add a little bit of water and it'll rehydrate itself. And a magnet. On one side of the magnet is a sticker paper. Peel it off and then that'll be your adhesive to stick it to your clay animal. If you don't trust the sticky part of the magnet, you can use a hot glue gun or a strong multi-purpose craft glue to glue it to your animal. And sculpting tools. Our kit came with a couple of them. But, of course, we didn't have enough to hand out 75. So you can use pencils, you can use plastic silverware, you can use different things that'll add a texture. It depends, again, on what animal you're making. And finally, you will need reference photos of different animals you like. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was looking at Pokemon. There's that cute little hermit crab up there on the right. My favorite Pokemon is Cyndaquil, so I'm like, oh man, I could totally make a Cyndaquil. I looked up a bunch of clay animals on Google and went from there. You can make anything you want. That's the awesome part. We'll be giving you, again, a variety of colors. So if you wanted to make one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater, you can. That's the awesome part. I decided to make a koi fish for my animal magnet. So I picked out the colors I wanted to use: orange, white, and black. This was my first time playing with air dry clay. If you've used it before, more power to you. I'm familiar with modeling clay and Play-Doh from my childhood, but it is interesting to work with. The consistency is sticky and stringy all at the same time. I compare it to a marshmallow. It's weird. It's highly malleable. A little goes a long way, and the blending of colors is fantastic. Once you stick two pieces you've worked on together, they will stick. When you try to pull them apart to reposition them, strings happen, so be sure of your placement. Or just barely touch it to see if it's what you want. First things first, I have to make a body. I rolled the clay around in my palm to form a circle, which I gradually flattened and pulled to make a teardrop-shaped body. Then I pinched a small bit more of the white and cut it in half. Again, rolling it into a ball and flattening, and then pinching the end to form the two side fins. The tail took a little bit to figure out because when you look at pictures of koi fish, they have these long, beautiful tails. So I wanted to make it look like as if it was swimming through the water. So I made a little curve, as you can see right here. My favorite koi fish is a white koi with orange splotches. So I pinched off a little bit of orange, and I did the same techniques as before: roll, flatten, and pinch. But these shapes of the orange, they can be however long, thin, fat, however I wanted to make it, because no koi fish is the same. So I put, orange here and there, and I made whatever shapes that I wanted. I used a tool to help me place the orange pieces on the body of the koi fish so my fingerprints wouldn't be all over them. And I also tried to use another tool to kind of flatten it into the white. I'd already worked the white too much at this point and it had started to dry, so it wasn't as seamless as I would have liked, but I still think it turned out cool. I see you. A koi fish needs eyes to see. So I took a minuscule amount of black clay and made two of the smallest balls I could and placed them on either side of the fish's head. And using a tool, I carefully flattened them. Now, so it wouldn't be a soulless black-eyed fish of doom, I rolled even smaller balls out of white clay and stuck them on the same way. And I could have left the side fins and the tail fins plain, but I wanted to add some dimension to them. So using a technique I'm sure you're all familiar with when you worked with Play-Doh as a child, I took a small amount of black clay and I rolled it into a long, small roll. I placed it between my two palms, I flattened them, and I rolled back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Once I got that as small as I could, then I put it on the table. I was making these teeny tiny thin rolls of black clay, and sometimes I smushed them, so I had to start over. Then I took one of the tools to help me place one end down at the start of the fin, and wiggle it across and then bend it behind the fin and then cinched it there. So looking at the fish, what is missing now? We have the eyes, we have the fins, we have the color, the dorsal fin. At first, I had no idea of how to go about making one. Again, it's like, how can I make it look, thin and ethereal and flowy? I pinched a little bit of white clay until I could make it as thin as I could without being see-through. And I then decided to add a little orange to carry on my color scheme. Leaving a little length on the bottom edge allowed me to place it gingerly on top of the fish, again, being careful of strings and repositioning. And then I used the curve tool to help blend it into the clay situated at the top of the fish. So after I gently placed it on the back of the koi body, as you can see in the picture, right here, I had a little bit of extra along the bottom where I was able to use the tool and go pat, 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 and then kind of blending it into the tail if I could, and then again patting it on the other side. And this adhered it to the body. And like I mentioned before, the clay is very malleable, so I had to let it finish drying overnight so I didn't accidentally squish my fish before attaching the magnet. That would have been very sad. So make sure that part of your sculpture is flat. So if you're doing this octopus and it has these amazing tentacles, make sure the bottom part where the parrot beak of the octopus would be, if you're doing it anatomically correct, make sure that part is flat so you can put the magnet and then here's your octopus, the head with all of the tentacles going out. Or in this case, the bottom of my koi fish ended up being flat, so I lucked out in that regard. But I did make a small koi fish, so you can see the magnet. It's not hidden, but I think it still turned out okay. And this is my final fish, and you can actually see it at the youth services desk at the Punta Gorda Charlotte Library on my yellow bookshelf behind my desk. Isn't he a happy looking little fish? Show us your art! Now that you've seen me create a clay animal sculpture, it is your turn. We'd love to see what animals you make with your colored clay. Take a picture and show it to one of us at your local library branch. Bring it in to show us. Upload a picture on Facebook. It can be a decoration on my bookshelf if you don't want it. And don't forget to keep filling out your reading log for our summer reading program, and we will see you around. Don't forget to pick up any other kits that are coming up in June and July. Keep an eye on the calendar. We'll see you next time. Bye.